Hello and welcome back to Bube Trader. In this video I will go to review the 12 stocks that will have earning tomorrow, and I will start with T-Mobile. Alright, T-Mobile, as you can see, for year to date is actually about the same. It bounced a lot, pull back, bounce, and then pull back again. Alright, so now let's do a quick boil. But so far, look at this. I can see it got a bear flag right here. For short term, you can see is actually right at the resistance of the channel. Even though it pulled back and looked like short term oversold, long term is also oversold. So technically, when this happens, it will bounce. And today we can see it actually dropped a lot and then pull back. So I would say 55% to 60% is gonna come up to 237. About 40% it will come down and test 216. So it's been so oversold a lot already. So which means the number need to be just come in decent outlook, neutral. We will have a bounce. But if the number not that good, we will have a pullback. And nowadays, it has to do with the economy and layoffs and stuff like that. So it could be a problem for many of the company. Depends on the consumer, and T-Mobile is one of them. Next we have Blackstone. All right, so this is from the last earning. So since the last earning, you can see it's actually trending down after a bounce up here in September. So for the past months, it's actually pulling back, and we do have a bear flag as well. So nowadays, if you look at it, you can see a lot of bear flag from the past 2-3 weeks. Okay, so now what about Blackstone? So looks like it's been oversold. Short term, long term is turning negative as well. And you can see the trend change to downside, and maybe it's trying to come back. You can see this low is higher than this low. So if it bounce more and take over this high, then we will have a change of direction. However, for now, I would say 60% we might have a bounce. Okay, and then 40% will have a pullback. The pullback will go down to 144. At 40%, 60% of a bounce to probably to 172. Okay, and if this go higher and hits this, we might have a W, and usually what for a W will come back and test this level. So we have to watch and see how it goes, but I expect a little bit of a bounce. Unless the number is really bad, then we will have a pullback. All right, next we have Union Pacific. Okay, so since the last earning is actually went sideways with some chops in between, and you can see it's actually get up to 230 something area and then pull back, and again you have a bear flag right here. So it's oversold. Short term, long term is turning neutral. So I would say maybe 55% of a bounce to 232. 45% of a pullback to 215. Okay. Normally I would say 60%, but because we have the bear flag, so it reduced about 5%. So 55% of bounce, 45% of pullback. Let me see if I see anything else. Short term trend is a little bit down. Yeah, that we might need some more candle to actually see the short-term trend, but from here only thing we can do is like this, unless we measure from like this, right? Then we have a retest right here. So usually when retest, it will bounce. So again, we might have a little bit more chance of a bounce. Honeywell, you can see it's been selling. Long term is also oversold. Short term, we have something like this. Okay, so you can see it trying to break out of the channel, the resistance here. So I would say pull back. Let me see which level I'm looking at now. Around 196 or 195. At about I would say about 40% only. 60% we might have a bounce to 215. All right, so Well, the reason why is that it's been selling a lot. The number just need to be decent. Outlook neutral, we will have a bounce. Even though it's on the top of the channel. So that is why I gave it 60%. 40% still, if the number is not that good and outlook is weak, we'll have a pullback. All right, next we have Lloyd's Banking Group. Haven't seen this stock for a long time. So we can see it's actually near long-term high. Let me see. Well, you can see it was about 6, 7, came down to 1 something, and now climbing back. So it looked like okay. So it looked like it's actually recover a lot. Now let's look at the trend. All right, so you can see me bouncing between the wedge here. It's a little bit over, so short term. Long term is overbought, so I expect a pullback here somewhere. I would say probably around 432 at about 60%. 40% we have about back and test 469. So we're talking about just about 3%, I think. And for downside, it's about 45%. I don't see much here on the chart. So look like it might be keep going and grinding up here within the wedge until it break below. All right, next we have Freeport McMoran. Last time I covered, it was around here when it dropped a lot in a couple days, from 40 something down to 35, but you can see it recover after a couple weeks. So I reviewed the chart and say that it most likely, let's say it bounced a pullback even more, but it was the buying zone because it will bounce back at least to 37 and maybe bounce higher, but then we didn't have a chance to review it again. So today, now I'm looking at the stock. Let's see. So if we look at the trend, we have something like this. Okay. Right, so we have something like this. So we got a couple drop off the channel, but then it will bounce back and then it pull back again and then bounce. So now it's a little bit it coming to neutral for short term. Long term is still a little bit oversold. So that means the number need to be just decent for a bounce to 44.76. So make it 45 at about 60%. 40% will pull back where? To 37. All right. Even though a bounce is more likely, the number and the outlook need to be at least decent or a little bit better. If it's worse than expected, we may have a pullback. Valero. Been a while I haven't looked at this stock. So April was about 100, so it bounced up about 70%, 75%, and then now pulling back. So you can see just like these, right? It pulled back and then bounced. So it is actually healthy for the stock to do that. If we draw a trend, okay, so this is the mid trend. For a shorter term trend, I'm seeing something like this. Maybe something like that. All right, so it doesn't look right, so I'm going back to this trend line. Because it looks more likely. Okay, so this look a little bit better. Short term oversold, long term coming off back from overbought to neutral. So I would say only about 55% of a bounce. 45% a pullback to 142. So 60% about to test 178. I think yeah, we might have a bounce if oil coming hot from low, and Valero they come out with a decent number outlook, we most likely have a bounce. So I'm thinking probably 65% a bounce and 35% a pullback. Intel is been, you can see it has bounced a lot. So short and long term is still overbought, right? I expect a pullback here. So the number need to be really good for it to not to have a pullback. And I'm seeing $32 at about 65% of a pullback. Let me see. If the number somehow coming really hot, we may have a bounce to $45. Maybe not that much, but at least give it 42. All right, so the number coming really hot. We might have a bounce again, and you can see this is almost like a bull flag right here. All right, so we'll see how it goes, but most likely a pullback. Let me check and draw a short-term trend. It's not much, but something like this, like very short term. Yes, tough because I cannot draw much, but using those line, or maybe this. Yeah, there's not much point to draw here. So something like this, and if it come back and break below, we might have to for it to bounce again up here, and then maybe pulling back at least 28. All right, and then we may have a bounce again, but this is where I'm seeing for short-term trend for Intel. Newmont, last time I was here, because of the goal run, I say maybe we're gonna hit 70 for the stock, and it did not do the same day. Only 65 pull back, and then it jumped. And then for the past 3 months, you can see it's been jumping a lot, except for the past couple days. Actually, for the 4 days, you can see it pull back from near 100 to 83, so about 15%. All right, so what for the stock? If we draw a short-term trend, we have something like this. All right, so basically it bounce up, pull back, test, fail, and then try to bounce back. Since it's overbought, I expect more pullback to at least 275 level. At about 60%, 40% if the number coming good, which it could be because of the recent gold price rise. It might come back and jump to 92 or 93. Yeah, it could be 93. So we will have to see what the number coming out tomorrow after hours. All right, next we have Norfolk Southern. So short-term oversold, long-term overbought, and it has like a bear flag right here. So seeing a 60% pullback to probably 275 or 276. to 60%. 40% of a bounce back and test 300. Right? Even though more chance of pullback, but you never know. Okay. Alright, so look like it's retesting this high as 300. Alright, next we have Digital Realty Trust. Short term is a little bit neutral, long term is also neutral. Short term trend like very short term trend. So we get a little bit of a megaphone pattern. So it most likely will keep going up and down like this. If I draw a trend line, okay. Alright, so looks like we might have a 50-50 here. A 50 chance of 178. When the number is coming good. Otherwise, we might see 64. 164. And it will test and close this gap right here. So this is one of the scenario where I'm not even sure. So it can go either way. It really depends on the outlook and the number. All right, next, the last one we have Ford. So last earning was here, so it graded up a little bit. Okay. All right, so let's see what we have here. So now this will be the support for short term. Okay, so from what I'm seeing, short term is turning a little bit overbought. Long term is also overbought. Right, so that means there will be 60% of a pullback to 1140. So we have going to be about 8% pullback if that happens. Otherwise, I'm looking for the next level here. Would be around 1326. So 40% of a mouse, 1325. To make it even. Okay, I don't see anything else, but look like that's all for now. All right. Thanks for watching. Please hit a like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.